Since 2018, I've been telling you, gold and silver is the way to protect your family, your savings, and your future. It is a hedge against inflation. It is great to diversify your portfolio. It is a store of value. It has asset liquidity. And most of all, it is a hedge against geopolitical uncertainty and a volatile U.S. dollar. Why do I tell you this? Because this is the time. You can book a consultation over with our friends at Beverly Hills Precious Metals by going to melkgold.com or to our partners page and click on Beverly Hills Precious Metals and set up your free consultation and explore your options for investing in gold and silver now. Nothing is going to change overnight, but things are slowly but surely shifting all throughout the world. And the one thing that will stay strong, no matter what, in my opinion, is gold and silver. I have learned so much from Andrew and his team at Beverly Hills Precious Metals, and you can too. So go to melkgold.com and get started today.
That's the nature of the scam. It's a bank shot. So then the rebuttal from the Dems is like, oh, well, the vast majority of the people who are marked as live in the Social Security Administration weren't receiving Social Security Administration payments. That is true. What they forgot to mention is they're getting fraudulent payments from every other government program. And that's why the Dems were so opposed to turning off, to declaring someone dead who was dead, because it would stop the entire all the other fraud from happening.
And so, but all this, is it trackable? Like all this other fraud,
it's
if
totally
they
trackable.
wanted to, they could chase it all down.
Yeah, it's not even hard.
And yet they're opposing chasing it all down.
They're opposing chasing it all down because it turns off the money magnet for the illegals.
Wow.
Because it's very logical to like I'm saying the most common sense things possible. If someone's got a birthday in Social Security that is an impossible birthday, meaning they are older than the oldest living American or were born in the future, then you should call them and say, excuse me, we seem to have your birthday wrong because it says that you're 200 years old. That's all you need to do.
And then you would remove them from the Social Security database and make that number no longer available for all those other government payments.
Exactly.
Wow. And how much money are we talking?
It's hundreds of billions of dollars.
And this is all traceable. Like you could hunt all this down.
Like you don't need to be Sherlock Holmes here, is what I'm saying.
Well,
we don't need to call Sherlock Holmes for this one.
Is this part of
the... We just need to call the person and say, excuse me, we seem to have the... we must have your birthday wrong because it says you're 200 years old or were born in the future. So could you tell us what your birthday is? That's all you need to do. It's that simple.
But all these other government payments that are available that are connected to this Social Security number, it seems like if you just chased that all down, you would find the widespread fraud. You would find where it's going.
Yes, but the root of the problem is the Social Security Administration database, because the Social Security number in the United States is used as a de facto national ID number. You know, that's why, like, the bank always asks for your social. So, like, any financial institution will ask for your Social Security number.
It sounds so insane that this isn't chased down. I mean,
I agree.
That in and of itself that's such mishandling.
Yes. No, it's mind blowing. So yeah, it's crazy.
Well, you were.
Oh boy.
Welcome back to Mornings with Mel K. It is Wednesday, and I feel exactly the same as Joe Rogan. What is going on? Well, it's set up that way. It is set up for fraud. This is why nobody in Washington, D.C. actually works for us. It's somewhat of a financial mafia there. And
it's some fraud.
Yes.
Yum, yum.
But we have an administration that's trying to do everything they can to reverse this. And I know that we are all very frustrated. And but I do have to say a lot of things have happened in the last 24 hours that I am very excited about, and you should be very excited about, and we're going to get into it. We're going to start with wins again, because I believe we have some good wins. And before I do that, as always, I will see how Roberto is doing.
Hi, Mel. I'm doing great, thank you. I feel good today. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's hump day. Maybe because... maybe it could be because Neutronic Labs, and we can talk about that. I don't know if Ben is ready to do that, but I also wanted to say we have our friend coming into town, which is going to be
Morello, my bestest buddy, is coming in today with her 2 dogs to hang with us for a few weeks. So we're thinking of doing some fun stuff together upcoming. So
you'll see her.
Cool stuff. So excited for that.
Can we do a funny thing? I just
know what it is.
I don't know. Have you guys all seen Kristi Noem's husband's pictures?
So sweet.
I mean, I don't know if Ben can pull that up, and it's a last minute thing, but it is it's extraordinary that this is at the highest level of government that we have someone who's just demonstrating behavior that is unbecoming of a high level official.
They're all unbecoming.
These people, and I'm being kind, folks, because we try to do a family-friendly show as much as we can.
I was just blown away by
I was like,
yesterday.
Are you kidding me?
Not for them that this is real.
Are you kidding me?
This is real. Again, look, we are living in very crazy times. So this is why the Mel K Show exists.
I'm going to have to get rid of my big...
cut through it.
Reminds me, remember that in Canada they had that teacher that had the... Remember that teacher who had these triple whatever monster?
I do.
That was insane.
I do.
These people are nuts.
In that front coming up today.
The other thing I also wanted to say, I do keep seeing a lot of different arrests for fraud and this and that. I think James O'Keefe is also doing a great job bringing out a lot of fraud. He's expressing frustration about the accountability part of it, but we are learning an awful lot more, and we are seeing some stuff happening.
Yeah. So let's take a deep breath and realize that, as I said, the stakes are not normal. The Democrat Party no longer exists. It is now run by the Democrat Socialists of America, and their partners with CARE and Muslim Brotherhood, and they're being funded by overseas, because the Democrat Socialists of America should be banned in the United States because they are funded by an international group that is, believe me, there's all kinds of ties to our teachers' unions as well with the DSA. But I will tell you, they are a revolutionary Marxist group that is global and is being funded globally, and none of them should be eligible to run for office in the United States of America. There is something called the Smith Act, if you want to look into that didn't allow communists. So all because they changed their name to socialists doesn't mean anything. And again, there are a lot of people out there, Democrats, that they just have terrible Trump derangement syndrome, and they just want Trump to go away. And they think everything Trump does is bad because it's Trump. And it's really very sad. But the truth is that it's not about Trump. It's about you. It's about me. It's about our future, our families, our communities, all of that. Trump is one man. He's doing some very significant things that should have been done long ago. People don't like it because there's a lot of money at stake. Speaking of, like, trillions of dollars have been invested in a lot of this fraudulent nonsense post-World War II. And we'll get into a lot of that today. Did you want to talk about
Sure. Yeah, let's do that.
Just want to apologize up front to my mom because she doesn't like us talking about Neutronics Labs, because it seems to be the best alternative for the blue pill that is natural. And so, Rob, you want to talk about your Neutronics Labs, testosterone?
Yeah, well, the main thing that I think is important is that we have a testosterone deficiency in our nation. And it's really, yes, it is quite real. And it's showing up in society in a massive way, right? And we're seeing, the feminization of really everything, not just men, but the way that we make decisions and the way that people are protected. And, there's supposed to be a beautiful balance between, the strength of men and the caring and nurturing of women. And Neutronics Labs, we met these guys. What I love about them is that, they are right up our alley. They are, they're America first. They're health first.
Veterans.
They're veterans. They're good people, and they have this, thousands of year old elk. Deer antler, rare red deer antler formulation that was gotten from Dr. Fang's mother from ancient China. Ancient Chinese recipe, and it helps with muscle mass and strength, bone density, libido, and energy and mood, and it really does work. So it's so this is the men's formula, and there's also a woman's formula.
You just under your tongue.
Yeah, it drops under your tongue. It tastes delicious. It comes with this free bottle of IGF-1, which is another enhancement to the protocol. And if you sign up for auto ship, it's very affordable, and it really does make a difference. I'm telling you, and Mel can attest to that as well.
We had a show with Dr. Fang and his partner, Ron, who's a trainer of boxers, and Roy Jones Jr. and all these people, and he's giving it to all of his athlete clients. He'll talk about that. But there is a real estrogen thing going on. First of all the fake meat, Beyond Meat and all this crap, it has ridiculous high levels of estrogen. Also, for some reason, the soy that's grown in America, unlike what is grown overseas apparently, is very high in estrogen, oddly high. Remember with Alex Jones with
the frogs.
It's gay, but I'm telling you, something's wrong. So these guys.
Alex Jones was right again.
With this great program. Anyway, it's awesome, and go check it out. NeutronicsLabs.com and use the code MELK.
And remember, neutronicslabs.com/MELK. If you sign up for auto ship, it's 50% off. And if you use the code and you get the IGF-1 for free, if you use the code MELK, you get an extra 10% off. And the shipping is great. The support is great. I highly recommend it.
If you are doing strength training and you're a woman, it's really, I don't know. It can only be that when I started using this, because now I used to hate the weights and stuff. And now not only do I like it more, but it's a lot less taxing. It's very strange. I don't know. I think this deer antler is an amazing thing.
It's one more thing. Yeah.
We have so much to talk
I
about.
know.
Okay. First and foremost, wait till it's very hard to believe that all of us have to pay our taxes. I still think the income tax is unconstitutional to begin with, but this year even more, watching all the fraud. So you have to remember, I believe 42% of Americans are on social services and don't pay taxes at all. So, tax the rich is such a lie. Honestly, it's the middle class that is actually being screwed on every level. But I do want you to know some of the things that Trump put in are starting to show numbers. And one of the big ones was no tax on overtime. Well, hello, everyone that works overtime and is using that, it looks like 20 million Americans so far have claimed the overtime tax break this year. Which expires in 2028, as you know, and we'll see what happens there. But the good news is that apparently 20 million taxpayers so far have claimed the break, internal Treasury data shows. And it says that Republicans created the allowance, a Trump campaign promise, as part of a signature tax cuts the president signed into law in July. It's very, very popular, as is the no tax on tips. But coming out so far is that this is a very big deal, and it's very helpful to people that were being taxed on overtime. So we will see what happens, but it does look like the Trump tax changes that he signed in July are going to make a big difference in many people's pockets. So we will see what happens there. Second huge win. I'm starting with wins. I don't know if you guys saw my show. It was 4 years ago, maybe. But I have been saying that there is a group called the and they use, first of all, there is no such thing as human rights. In America, our rights come from God, and that is called inalienable rights. But the UN and all of these fraudsters came up with something called human rights. And they use that all the time, like they use democracy all the time to mean something it doesn't. But in the meantime, there was one group that was a bullying group, the biggest LGBTQ movement, the biggest funded LGBTQ push into everything. And I am glad to say that only 131 companies have submitted data this year to the very despicable human rights campaign Corporate Equality Index. In just last year, 377 companies were submitting their data to this NGO that are just gigantic bullies. And
if you're a big company out there and you're submitting your data, you are bending the knee to the Marxist communist revolution.
Yeah.
The whole ESG score thing driven by BlackRock is an absolute joke. Cut it out.
Yes. So what the Human Rights Campaign was doing was it was bullying corporations and saying that they were anti-LGBTQ plus if they didn't submit their data to them for them to score them. And everyone was doing it, particularly after the Summer of Love and George Floyd. So the Human Rights Campaign Foundation Equality Index released in February found a 65% drop in Fortune 500 participation. Any Fortune 500 company that is submitting to them is a total disgrace, okay? They have no business doing this, and it's absolutely disgusting what they've been doing. So what they do is if you don't do well in their LGBTQ plus corporate equality rating, they then go after your advertisers. They use it as a campaign to destroy your company. It's been going on for way too long, and I'm so glad that it's getting called out and people are finally realizing that it's a total fraud and a manipulation, and it is funded by, of course, the same people.
I wanted to just add to that, which is that for those of you who have money in pension funds and other managed assets, you gotta put pressure on these people or take the money out, because a lot of them are again bending the knee to this nonsense because
Why?
they do get some benefits
or they get attacked. These people are giant bullies and very well funded, and that's what they were doing to push the LGBTQ plus critical theory, critical gay theory, I call it. And I have to tell you, 534 companies were, since the beginning of the Joe Biden administration, were submitting their data to this NGO. And if you weren't, you were literally having article after article written about you that you were anti-LGBTQ+, not that you didn't want to participate in nonsense that should have nothing to do with corporations. So in the meantime, I just want you to know, I hope that this is the end. Chad Griffin runs it. It's called the Human Rights Campaign Foundation, of course. Everyone has a foundation. And frankly, it should surprise no one who funds this. First of all, the labor unions in our country are all infiltrated. They are actually all partners of Labor International, which is a UN tentacle there. And I just want you to know that they had $420 $1 million in their budget, the Human Rights Campaign. You want to know why? If you jump to my screen right now, you will find out why. The donors to the HRC, that's Human Rights Campaign, United Food and Commercial Workers, and NEA were big ones. But of course, if you're going to find something that's totally undermining of the United States of America, you always find the Silicon Valley Community Foundation, the Soros Charitable Fund, and Planned Parenthood Foundation. But worst of all the donors you'll see here, all these companies got bullied into turning in their data to be decided if the HRC, Human Rights Campaign, found that they were being fair to gay companies, to gay people in their company. It was completely a bullying tactic. They were pushing the Equality Act and all this other stuff, but they also, if you submitted to them, you were essentially backing their platform, which was creating a path of citizenship for undocumented dreamer immigrants. What does that have to do with LGBTQ+? Well, about as much as Palestinians for the gays has to do with LGBTQ+. Also, requiring faith-based adoption and same-sex marriage adoption, adding sexual orientation and gender identity to the Fair Housing Act and Equal Credit Opportunity Act. What is what you do with your sex life and who you're attracted to have to do with anything? Banning LGBTQ+ foreign nationals from entry. Banning anti-LGBTQ+ foreign nationals for entry into the United States, expanding regulations and restrictions for rights of Americans to use firearms, federal paid sick leave legislation, federal funding for sex education and pro-LGBTQ+ education, federal anti-school bullying legislation. What? Criminalization of programs purporting to treat or cure same-sex attraction. Well, yesterday, also a blow to the Human Rights Campaign bully squad. The Supreme Court, other than Ketanji, who should not be there because her appointment to the Supreme Court is absolutely unconstitutional. Joe Biden said he would only pick a black woman for the empty Supreme Court justice seat. That is completely illegal, and everyone knew it, and everyone allowed this radical Marxist to be put, the dumbest person we've ever had on the Supreme Court easily, and I'll point that out in a minute. And these people also at the Human Rights Campaign, you can take it down, Ben, they also had a congressional scorecard, a hospital scorecard. I mean, it's a giant bullying ring that had very little to do with equal rights, because equal rights is no longer the goal.
I wonder if we have a score.
Yes, ours would be big zero. In the meantime, another win for America. I am not a fan of JP Morgan. I also believe that they have gotten away multiple times with huge criminality by paying fines that meant nothing to them, particularly in their participation in the 2008 crash, where they paid $11 billion fine in a year that they made $800 billion. Also, JP Morgan was involved in the Madoff scandal, which affected a lot of people I know because he preyed on Palm Beach. And we live down here. My parents live down here. You know, we saw a lot of people's lives destroyed. And I will tell you, JP Morgan was very involved. They had to pay a fine. I believe it was about 1.5 billion, I think. I'm not sure exactly, but they had to pay a fine in the Madoff case. And that was another year that they made around $800 billion, so it didn't really matter. And then, of course, they have been involved deeply in the Jeffrey Epstein case and, again, have paid off people, but nobody's been held accountable. Not one person in the 30-year relationship with JP Morgan, including those who it appears ignored suspicious activity reports And then after Epstein was arrested, adjusted those reports to go from about 49 to about 5,000 of Jeffrey Epstein. So we will see what happens with all of that. And you can't forget that they manipulated the gold and silver markets. They got caught transporting on a boat they owned drugs. But JP Morgan is doing something a little different, it looks like. They are doing something called the American Dream Initiative to boost small business lending in the United States of America by $80 billion. So maybe this is a good thing. I believe everyone out there that should become a small business owner or or work for themselves or any of these things, because a lot of things that are going by the way of AI are, you understand where that's going. But there's a lot of things that AI can't do, particularly when it comes to human contact and things that need human interaction. So small businesses are a great place to go. So what they are doing is they have hired 1,000 credit officers at JP Morgan Chase to be part of the American Dream Initiative. They intend to deploy $80 billion in small business financing, delivering it directly to partnerships with community development banks. Thank God we need to go back to community banks and federal programs. They also will be giving small business credit all over. They are hiring 1,000 small business credit officers, 150 senior business consultants. They are going to have centers for small business that you can visit in Alabama, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Los Angeles, and San Francisco to help the economies of those areas as well as the country. I believe this is a very good thing, especially if you have always wanted to start a small business or you have one and you've been struggling to scale it. I want to recommend strongly, again, as you know, on Sundays, I do Solution Series, and one of my best friends who's been maligned unfairly by the country because he ran the Reawaken America tour, but he is, I think, the best business coach that I've ever seen in the United States of America or in my history, and that is Clay Clark. He right now has a great situation going on where he will give you a 13-point free assessment on your small business or your small business idea for free, using the code MELK over there at thrivetimeshow.com. So take all of your stuff and sit down for, an hour. Clay will go through his 13 points. And after that, you can decide what you want to do, if you want to work with him or not. But it is a huge, huge game changer for hundreds and hundreds of people. He has a big conference coming up with Tim Tebow in Tulsa. And again, we went to the last business conference and it was an amazing success. Many people there, but let them know Mel K sent you. If you want to, he calls it nail it and scale it. And he has a whole model. It's a 13-point model. It's amazing. And I highly recommend. So guess what? There's going to be money available and you deserve it. So start a small business, move to Main Street, America, where they need help and they need investment, and start your life over better and make it your own. You know what? We don't have to be slaves to corporations anymore. We can find our own way forward. America needs a lot of help on Main Street. And you know what? Some people wanted to be a florist and ended up working as a corporate, whatever. Or some people wanted to, have a roofing company or wanted to go on their own as a lawyer or a doctor. He's doing great with all that. He builds the website. It's everything. It's amazing. Just go check it out. If you have a business, now is the time to take advantage.
So you would go to thrivetimeshow.com and
13-point assessment and fill out the form.
There you go.
Touch. And he's got a whole awesome team. It's amazing. So anyway, that is great. And then start to look into that small business loan plan from JP Morgan. They owe the American people a lot of money, in my opinion. So go take it and make your life the best it can be now. And don't wait for the government. They're not going to save you, but you can save yourself. Okay, also, J.D. Vance has kicked off his anti-fraud task force, and he is not holding back. It appears there is $2 trillion of Medicare and Medicaid fraud, $101 billion of SNAP fraud, $100 billion in Small Business Administration loan fraud, $64 billion of public housing fraud, $43.5 billion of unemployment insurance fraud, and $16 billion in the needy family programs fraud. It is almost unbelievable, the level of fraud. And again, that is for I believe, 47% of Americans that actually pay taxes are paying all of that into a black hole. We need to start taking it very seriously. That is a fraud against we, the people of the United States, the citizen taxpayers who are getting looted and laundered and lied to over and over, whether it's through endless wars for profit, the expansion of NATO, the fraudulent global climate nonsense started in the 90s with the Gore and Hollywood and all them. Whatever the case may be, the American people have had it. If you want us to pay taxes, you better get that fraud under control, is my say. Number two, I also believe that we should be pushing for a public audit of every single person. If they're not going to hold the AutoPen administration, where nobody was elected, all of the people were referred by Comer, 10 of them, 4 charges. That has not happened. Janine Pirro said that she wouldn't be able to bring a grand jury. I don't know if that's true or not, but we were defrauded for 4 years, not just with the election, but everything that happened. So I think the American people deserve a full and total audit of every sitting senator and congressperson under the AutoPen administration. Hundreds of trillions, I'd say hundreds of billions, but definitely trillions of dollars left this country. Much of it was laundered back to our government officials, particularly in the House and Senate. And never forget, lobbying is legalized bribery and should be completely illegal as it is. But apparently, there's a lot of stuff that has to be taken care of. And don't forget all of the stuff that happened with the PPP loans and Ukraine and the $300 billion to John Podesta for climate change czar and all of that. Where do you think it went? I firmly believe that every single sitting senator and congressperson and the executive branch under the AutoPen should be demanded by we, the people, to have a people's audit. Okay, because a lot of that money went right back into their pockets, and that's why they don't want any changes. That's why they didn't want DOGE. That's why they want to continue the open borders. It's a money-making scheme. Okay, on top of that, if you didn't know, ICE confirmed that they arrested the illegal alien that is suspected of lighting the fire, the Kenneth fire, last year in California. It is confirmed that the person they arrested was lit on fire, caused the fire in February of 2025 in California that cost $131 billion. UCLA estimated the fires reduced the Los Angeles County's GDP by $4.5 billion. 10 people died in that fire, and apparently they caught him red-handed. It's an illegal alien that was lighting those fires in LA County, and now they have him under arrest. The same day that another insane federal judge, Obama judge, of course, probably one of the 235 that Schumer said were progressive, that they put in there just in case MAGA became successful again. And we should look into all 235 of those judges that were put in under the AutoPen as well. The AutoPen is a very big deal, as is the 2020 election fraud and everything that happened after. And I don't know how we can let it go, including how we could possibly let go the criminality and the abject evil, banality of evil of COVID. But lots of things happened in those 4 years Joe Biden wasn't president. And I think it's really important that the people of the United States demand accountability ourselves. Also, a federal judge has ruled against Donald Trump, blocking his administration from terminating the parole of immigrants who signed up on Biden's CBP app. Now, let's be very clear. That app was originally for truckers that were trucking things between Mexico and America, and the Biden administration quickly reconfigured it to allow illegals to essentially check in on our border and automatically get probation or parole status until their court date in 2030 or whenever. It's disgusting, and frankly, another judge blocking what is best for America. But that's okay, folks. That's okay, because another win has happened. My good friend and somebody I adore, Jeff Clark, and other people have released what they've been working on for months. If you can jump to my screen, please go check out the Mass Deportation Coalition Playbook. Norm Eisen, we're coming at you with our own playbooks, you creep. So it's a roadmap for President Trump to fulfill his campaign promise to carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. This is what it looks like, folks. And you can go over to Mass Deportation Coalition and check it out yourself. So basically, here it is, the Mass Deportation Coalition. This is the website here, and it is a total and complete playbook of all the ways that Donald Trump and we, the people, can work on this. Promises made. So it has all kinds of things. I would go check it out, but I also believe this is going to be put into action ASAP, and we will start to clear our country out of people that don't belong here and are taking advantage, and our taxpayer money is going to help them and not our families and our children and our future and our country and our infrastructure. We have plenty to pay for inside America, and too much of it is going to illegal aliens, and a lot is happening today with that. So go over and check out the massdeportationcoalition.org and find out how you can get involved where you are. Yes, Rob.
I was going to say, I'm glad that we're using the playbook model now.
Yeah.
Now they're trying to use the podcast model,
Playbook.
but and so now we're going to be using the playbook model. That's good. I mean, we need to match them in there because they're so well organized and they message so well across their base and as far as their.
We should look into that Midas touch and where their money's coming from. That's their big.
I wanted to. There's just something really funny in the chat. Timothy 39. He has 10 ways to pick up girls at a rally, and it's really really funny if you're.
Sunday guy. You guys, we're just doing solution Sundays from now on. So if you have solutions like that, let us know.
It's very funny stuff.
Well, email us there. Who doesn't? He's not so swift. So Eric Swalwell. So embarrassing that he's even in the government. He's such a loser. Anyway, Eric Swalwell has sent FBI Director Kash Patel a cease and desist letter to not release the FBI files in the investigation into his 3-year affair with a Chinese spy we know as Fang Fang.
Can we do that as citizens if the police come after us or whatnot and we just tell them, cease and desist?
I mean, no. And the bottom line is, when has this ever happened before? This is a guy who was involved in the Russia hoax, the fake dossier, who's lied to the American people over and over, it's just a deplorable, real deplorable. But anyway, Eric Swalwell is asking the FBI not to release the files about his 3-year relationship with CCP operative Fang Fang. Apparently, he is very angry, and his attorney, Norm Eisen, is upset. The congressman has never been accused of wrongdoing in that matter, and your attempt to release the files is a transparent attempt to smear him and undermine his campaign for governor of California. No, it's just that the FBI was so corrupt under Chris Wray and Comey and Mueller that he was protected. He is also accused, as you all know from me, of leaking classified information with Adam Schiff out of the skiff to hurt Donald Trump during his first term. He was very involved in the fake Ukraine impeachment and everything else. And he's a deplorable, like I said, human being, the real kind. So what is going on is also... It is very clear to anyone that lived in California that there is a very shady relationship between the CCP and the proletariat and the high-end people over there in California. Dianne Feinstein, who was the Weekend at Bernie's before Biden, she had a 20-year relationship with a Chinese spy that worked for her in her office in San Francisco. Not to mention all of the Chinese money that has flown in and out of Hollywood to prop it up and keep it going, and also to push their propaganda, and stole all of our technology at the same time.
Exactly.
And that's Hollywood. And then don't forget, the actual Chinatown in San Francisco is legitimately China's town. Remember when they cleaned it all up overnight? All the poo off the streets and stuff because Xi was coming? I mean, I'm just telling you that there is a very, very, very serious situation in California with the CCP, and he is part of it. Now, I did not know that Fang Fang visited Victor David Hansen at his office. He's at, I think, Stanford. But take a listen to his story about Fang Fang. It made me laugh out loud, but take a listen. This is a true story, and I love, as most people do, Victor David Hansen, and I can't even imagine this happening to him, but this was his experience. So Fang Fang was going around trying to find people to compromise, and she compromised Swalwell. and then it was buried. And it was buried at the same time that they were impeaching Trump for a fake Ukraine thing that the CIA created with the fake CIA whistleblower, Ciaramella, that we couldn't say his name because if the American people knew he was CIA, the whole thing would have fallen apart. But here you go. Take a listen to this.
Swalwell, well, as I said, I wrote some critical things of China, and Fang Fang came to see me as a consular official out of the Bay Area. And I think she told me she was a political operative that monitored American politics. But when she walked in my office at the Hoover Institution, I kept the door open. I had one of my research people with me the whole time. And the way she changed accents and how she was dressed, you would have to be a stupid, narcissistic idiot to fall for that. I'm serious. In my case, it was, maybe he would say it's easier because I'm an old man, but my point was, it was about 10 or 12 years ago, and he fell for that. And he got involved with her when he was on the House Intelligence Committee. So end of story with that guy. He's anybody who would fall for her, honeypot, it was just a joke. Anybody could see that.
And so that explains his stupid
Anything he
ex-post.
says, he's a Beto O'Rourke of the House.
Fang Fang. That was 10 to 12 years ago. So, I mean, Eric Swalwell, it looks like, is in more trouble than you think. Remember, he was on the House Intelligence Committee. And I'd like to say this to the American people, and I hope you understand. The House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence and the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence are operations to cover up wrongdoing by the government, particularly the intelligence community and the supranational intelligence community of the CIA, MI6, and all their partners that protect the international banking cartel from the American people. The Senate Select Committee on Intelligence and the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, look into them. The Gang of Eight, they protect the government from us. And Swalwell was on that while he was being compromised by a Chinese spy for 3 years. Let's also remember, now we know, Eric Swalwell took at least 6 trips to Qatar, linked sponsors between 2020 and 2024. Again, the people should demand a full audit of every senator, every congressperson, and the executive branch under the Auto-Pen Biden administration. They all made millions and millions and millions of dollars over 4 years after a oddly ignored stolen election and a fake Fedsurrection. And all of this needs to come out. And if they're not going to do it at the DOJ, we got to do it ourselves. I am looking into how to do a people's audit because it's enough's enough. I mean, these people. Anyway, Swalwell went to Qatar repeatedly between 2020 and 2024, including taking an $84,000 trip.
Nice.
Holy cow.
All
We
right.
gotta get in that game. And it looks like also there's like pictures of Swalwell and Ruben Gallego, who apparently is a product of the Mexican cartels, on a camel excursion in the Persian Gulf when they stayed at the Four Seasons in Doha. This is so crazy. Oh, here they are. Take a look. So here's, Swalwell and his wife, and I guess Gallego and his wife on an excursion in. Can you get that there? Okay, forget it.
No, he'll get it. You
Oh, I'm
just got to
sorry.
stop moving it. Otherwise, he can't. It looks like they're channeling.
That's a lot of diplomacy going on with those camels.
Looks like they're channeling warm Putin.
Oh, yes. Anyway, Swalwell's days are numbered as far as I can see if our country has the guts. Now, remember, there's some kind of odd immunity going on in Washington, D.C. that I don't think the people know about, and I am trying to figure out why. Ilhan Omar or Rashida Tlaib, who both got money and worked with, enacted with terrorists, not to mention their annual income does not match their now millionaire status. And then there's the woman from Florida who's had 25 ethics violations found guilty of and stole PPP money. All of them are still in our government. So what is going on with criminality by Congress and Senate? And don't forget, when they speak on the floor, they're immune. So that's why Adam Schiff was allowed to lie about the phone call and why Donald Trump released it. And speaking of lying, Great news. It looks like the Mar-a-Lago raid is going to be a criminal trial. So Judicial Watch has released a FOIA that they got, and it turns out that leftist groups and NGOs helped spur the Biden administration, all the way up to Joe Biden, to raid Mar-a-Lago, the former president's home, without probable cause. So essentially what's coming out now, I made a little thing about it. Where is it? Okay. So what we are finding here is that FBI field office, that's the Washington field office, expressed doubts about probable cause. DOJ, Merrick Garland, proceeded, Merrick Garland and Lisa Monaco. Merrick Garland, Lisa Monaco, and Chris Wray should all be charged for the criminal action of Arctic frost as well. But DOJ proceeded with the search warrant despite concerns from the Washington field office. Internal disagreement existed between federal agencies about raiding Mar-a-Lago. Less confrontational alternatives were proposed and rejected by the Biden administration. Public statements after the search are not true, and internal communication proves it. FBI explicitly told DOJ it did not believe there was probable cause for the raid on Mar-a-Lago. The case agent said multiple times that they did not believe there is PC, this is an actual document, for the 45 office or the bedroom. And remember, they went through Melania's drawers and Barron's drawers and their entire rooms and all of Mar-a-Lago. Then they took pictures that were fake and put them out in the press. And again, the DOJ said that they didn't care about optics. Also, the Washington field office repeatedly proposed less confrontational alternatives, rebuffed every time. Let me tell you very clearly that what I believe happened there was that Donald Trump declassified documents on his way out of office. The auto pen came in and reclassified those same documents and worked with the traders in the archives to put those documents that were reclassified without Trump's knowledge into the boxes and sent them to Mar-a-Lago. This is a criminal operation, and I believe that it will be proven if we get there. But what it looks like is that we're going to have the grand conspiracy case, which will be about Russiagate and spying. There's treason and sedition on the table as well. But the Mar-a-Lago case, I believe, will be a criminal trial. And I look forward to that. So they say that for 5 weeks, they kept going back and forth with the FBI field office telling them that there was no probable cause, and the Biden administration and Merrick Garland and Lisa Monaco pushing back over and over. Lisa Monaco is a real player here and needs to be held accountable. So basically what we're dealing with is looks like we're going to have a criminal and a I guess, RICO or grand conspiracy, 2 different cases there. Also, yesterday, Marco Rubio finally came out and explained, as best anyone could, the exact nature of why we are in Iran. And as you know, I believe a lot of this is about the maritime situation, but even more than that, we have been at war with Iran in one way or another since, at least the 40s, if not the 70s. But the other thing is, nobody's really sure who runs Iran and who's embedded there. And I don't think that it's a coincidence that the CIA had coups in Venezuela, Cuba, Afghanistan, and Iran. And those are the places that we've gone into. And more will come out in time. But let's take a listen to Marco Rubio so that we can stop arguing about it, because I believe that this is exactly why we are there. And I honestly, Marco Rubio early on said they knew Israel was going to hit Iran, and the reason that they joined them was because the retaliation was going to be against our bases in the Middle East. Okay, take a listen.
Many Americans are asking, why did the United States have to attack Iran now? Well, let me explain. Iran wants to have nuclear weapons. Of that, there is zero doubt. If what they truly wanted, which is what they claim, is nuclear energy, well, they could have nuclear energy like all the other countries in the world have it. And that is, you import the fuel and you build reactors above ground. That's not what Iran has done. They build their reactors and their facilities deep in mountains, away from the public glare. And they want to enrich that material. The same equipment that they could use to enrich material for energy, they could use to quickly enrich it to weapons grade. So it is clear that they've been offered every opportunity to have a nuclear program that allows them to have energy, not weapons, and every single time they have turned it down. But why the attack now? Well, what was Iran trying to do? Iran was trying to build a conventional shield, in essence, have so many missiles, have so many drones that no one could attack them, and they were well on their way. We were on the verge of an Iran that had so many missiles and so many drones that no one could do anything about their nuclear weapons program in the future. That was an intolerable risk. Under no circumstances can a country run by radical Shia clerics with an apocalyptic vision of the future ever possess nuclear weapons. And under no circumstances can they be allowed to hide and protect that program and their ambitions behind a shield of missiles and drones that no one can do anything about. This was our last best chance to eliminate that conventional threat, that conventional shield that they were trying to build, and the president made the right decision to wipe it out now. That is the goal of this operation, to destroy their conventional missiles and their drone program so they can't hide behind it and finally have to deal with the world seriously about never, ever having nuclear weapons.
And again, more will come out about Obama's administration's relationships with Iran, particularly the false and fraudulent Iran deal, which was a total joke, and all the money that went to building and creating all of that, including the drone that Iran got and of ours, and I guess reverse engineered and started building like maniacs drones. And they are maniacs. But the bottom line is John Kerry, Valerie Jarrett, Iranian Muslim, was Obama's right hand. Peter Strzok and Lisa Page both had strong contacts with Iran. The Muslim Brotherhood was all embedded with Barack Obama. So I think all roads are on right now. What is happening in Iran is that apparently there is some kind of breakup between the IRGC and the Iranians. And this has a lot to do with who has been funding this all along. Trump's strategy will be proven, I believe, and what is going on here to be the best thing for not just our country, but the world. And again, everyone that wants to think it has to do with Israel can think that all they want. That is not really what is going on, in my opinion. And at this point, Trump is negotiating with different people. So Iran's president states they are prepared to end the war if they receive guarantees. Many people believe the guarantees have to do with the IRGC having a split from the Iranian people that would like to have a better way forward. We will see what happens, but don't believe the hype and just try to stick with what Marco Rubio is saying. Now, as everyone's saying that agrees with me, that NATO is not a defensive force. It is an opportunistic offensive force. Nobody reading George Soros's 1993 NATO World document, NATO World Order document. You can find it on George Soros's website, Open Society. He was working, of course, with his best pal, Bill Clinton. As you know, Gorbachev and Reagan with Baker promised to not expand NATO after the fall of the USSR. But George Soros had different plans, as did Zig Brzezinski, who in 1995 wrote his whole dissertation on what should come of NATO, which was supposed to end, at least. And instead of that, little time went by, and Bill Clinton expanded NATO by bombing Yugoslavia. And as you know, coincidentally or not, during that bombing of Yugoslavia, when it looks like Clinton was following the George Soros plan, they hit the embassy there of China. And guess what happened then? Then they agreed to open up the World Trade Organization to China in response to them accidentally hitting their embassy in Yugoslavia. So just keep that in mind. NATO is not what you think. It has never been. And I just want to say what is going on now is that Pete Hegseth, Marco Rubio, and Trump are all questioning why we are in NATO at all. Frankly, Hegseth said, a lot has been shown to the world about what our allies would be willing to do for the United States when we undertake an effort of this scope on behalf of the free world. Of course, they have said that they wouldn't be involved. Steimer came out like crying, basically saying he was so sorry that it happened. And the president is pointing out that you don't have to have You don't have much of an alliance if you have countries that are not willing to stand with you when you need them. As you recall, we had nothing to do with Ukraine. Of course, the Brzezinski-Obama team were setting up World War III in Ukraine the entire time they were in office. And then, of course, West exec advisors continued Obama's foreign policy during Trump's first term and made sure that he was tied up in lawfare and other nonsense and fake impeachments and stuff so that he couldn't get in the way of the plans for World War III that would inevitably lead to the solution of Agenda 2030, which Barack Obama, Samantha Power, Susan Rice, and the rest of them signed the United States onto without consent of the governed, which is, of course, Agenda 2030 is a nation-state ending plan for global governance, full track and trace surveillance, technocracy on a global scale with global public infrastructure, where nation-states no longer have any power. And Barack Obama signed that in 2015. Trillions of dollars have gone into it. They could not allow Donald Trump to become president. They had plans for Ukraine to be the headquarters for NATO to take out once and for all Russia. And a lot of what you've been told is a lie. So I just want to clear up what NATO is for you guys. So NATO was founded in 1949. Of course, I have a book coming out, as you all know. You don't have to put that on the screen. I have a book coming out, as you all know. You can put the book on the screen. I'm sorry. As you all know, my book is coming out soon. It is done. It is called Infiltration Instead of Invasion, America Betrayed, 1944 to 1954. In that time period, NATO came about. The original members, United States, Canada, UK, France, Italy, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg, Norway, Denmark, Portugal, Iceland. The proposal was a collective defense against the Soviet Union and stabilization of Western Europe after World War II. It was rooted in World War II architecture, which my book explains was a total and complete betrayal of the United States of America, including the Marshall Plan, the German Marshall Plan that the United States of America taxpayers paid for, which created the EU and paid for the reconstruction of Europe. That's your money and my money. And now the EU looks a lot more like the USSR than what they proposed. In the meantime, NATO was also, if you do not know, the Dulles brothers changed our country forever by turning the State Department, CIA, National Endowment for Democracy, USAID into a supranational tentacle of the global order after World War II that has really betrayed the people on the highest levels over and over. Also, to justify NATO's existence, there have been multiple actions by NATO that honestly are unfathomable and have caused so much death and destruction. And we have to remember, again, they were promised in the negotiations to end the USSR that they would not expand NATO. And particularly, Ukraine was very important because the borders of Ukraine are basically arbitrary. But I do want you to know that West Germany's integration into NATO happened while many Nazis were in West Germany, running West Germany with the knowledge of Dulles and his partner McCloy, who brought a lot of Nazis with not just Operation Paperclip, but legitimately the entire West Germany was being run by the Gehlen organization, the military side of the Nazis. That would be Gehlen organization, and they turned into the West German intelligence, but they were essentially Hitler's intelligence agents. And of course, Adolf Heisinger, he was the NATO military commander, as was Hans Speidel. Also, NATO command, both full-fledged, top-level Hitler inner circle Nazis. Okay, so that has been lied to about everyone. And I just want you to know that NATO's budget, U.S. basically pays about 22% of NATO's budget. It looks like U.S. NATO defined defense spending between 2014 and 2025 has been $9.5 trillion. Okay, the United States spends annually on NATO $845 billion. And nobody looks where it's going. And I want you to also understand, NATO's whole goal was primarily deterrence, okay? But that's not what's happened. NATO bombed Bosnia. Okay, we know that. That was a war that went from 92 to 95. NATO was the... went in there for reasons they created. Kosovo, 1999. Afghanistan, 2003 to 2014. Mediterranean counterterrorism, Iraq training mission, 2004, 2011. Pakistan, 2005, 2006. Libya, the worst crime next to Iraq in my mind, 2011. Afghanistan again, 2015 to 2021. Goes on and on. NATO mission in Iraq, 2018 to present. Montenegro, 2017. Macedonia, 2020. Finland, 2023. Sweden, 2024. It is backed by think tanks, Atlantic Council, Brookings Institution, the fraudulent German Marshall Fund, Center for European Policy Analysis, the Council of Foreign Relations, and RAND Corporation. Every single one of them refused to allow the United States to be an independent country that stands up for our sovereignty and takes care of ourselves. Every single one of those institutions has been all about, along with the Trilateral Commission, not allowing the United States of America to be an independent sovereign nation, and they would like nothing more than Agenda 2030 and global governance. So keep that in mind as you hear people crying about NATO ending. And I will play another clip from Marco Rubio about NATO that will sum things up maybe.
Sean, I've been one of the strongest defenders of NATO during my time as a United States Senator because I found great value in it. And it wasn't just about defending Europe. I said it also allowed us to have military bases in Europe that allowed us to project power into different parts of the world when our national security was threatened. If now we have reached a point where the NATO alliance means that we can't use those bases, that in fact, that we can no longer use those bases to defend America's interests, then NATO is a one-way street. That
Right.
NATO is simply about us having troops in Europe to defend Europe, but when we need their help, not their help, we're not asking them to conduct airstrikes. When we need them to allow us to use their military bases, their answer is no. Then why are we in NATO? You have to ask that question. Why do we have billions and billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars, over the years, trillions of dollars, and all of these American forces stationed in the region? If we can only use, in our time of need, we're not going to be allowed to use those bases. So I think there's no doubt, unfortunately, after this conflict is concluded, we are going to have to re-examine that relationship. We're going to have to re-examine the value of NATO and that alliance for our country. Ultimately, that's a decision for the president to make, and he'll have to make it. We're going to finish the job here. As I said, we're very, very close to achieving our objectives on all of these things that I've outlined. But I do think, unfortunately, we are going to have to re-examine whether or not this alliance that has served this country well for a while is still serving that purpose, or is it now become a one-way street where America is simply in a position to defend Europe, but when we need the help of our allies, they're going to deny us basing rights and they're going to deny us overflight? I think these are very legitimate questions that we need to be asking, and this are going to have to be very carefully examined after this conflict is over.
Not only do I think that we'll save $845 billion a year, but I also think that we will see an end of endless wars if NATO is, if we leave NATO. We've been protecting what is now essentially the EU SSR, the Socialist Republic of Europe, and there's no reason to do that. They destroyed themselves. They have been unfair to us, and frankly, they're not our allies, not the EU. The individual nations in there maybe, but not the EU. Now, before I jump forward, I really do need to bring in Stella Emanuel. There is a warning. These people are getting very desperate that created the pandemic, and as you know, pulling out of NATO really is like the worst thing that could happen to them.
We're also coming up on an election. You can't have an election without a pandemic.
Right. And again, Stella put out in a warning today, so I had to bring her on. Nobody has better products, better care, better insight into the entire pandemic than Stella Emanuel. So Stella, come on in. Let's talk about what's going on.
Hello, Mel. Always nice to come hang with you guys.
Well, I appreciate it. Go ahead, tell everyone what's on the radar. And again, the World Health Organization is rearing their head.
Yeah, the World Health Organization, the CDC, everybody is warning. The CDC, the World Health, and the news channels are beginning to carry it, or the news outlets are beginning to carry it. And they are warning about this new COVID strain. They call it the cicada, like the insect
like the
cicada.
bug?
Yes, that's what they're calling it. They said, okay, let me read here. No, they said there's a new COVID strain that has mutated, a new highly mutated COVID-19 variant, BA.3.2. something really, I find it very funny now. They've changed this. They are just using when they are using .1, .2, .3 as if it's a website or that they are beginning to do it. Really, it's very funny. Okay, BA.3.2, also known as the cicada, is spreading in the US and 23 countries. And it's believed to be partly evading vaccines, even though they still want you to go and get the vaccine because it's partly evading it. In other words, they are setting people up to create a new and improved vaccine. You understand what I'm saying? Right. Because the new cicada variant is invading the current vaccine. And they name it cicada because it has a long hibernation period, and then it causes. So I'm beginning to see, patients, coughing, runny nose, and then the same symptoms, no smell, like the one I saw yesterday, no smell, and he's diabetic, and he was kind of worried, and he's not vaccinated. I was like, don't worry about it. I put him on some hydroxychloroquine, gave him some COVID spray, and gave him some COVID Vites, and he went home, and when I checked on him today, he was doing very well. So I'm just letting people know that there's no need to panic, whether it's cicada, whether it's .3, .5, .8, or .10, whatever those COVID strains are. All COVID, they're RNA viruses. They are sensitive to zinc. But I'm just telling people, when you tell people that this is coming and this is what they're pushing out right now, people are like, well, we don't care, election, pandemic, or what again? It's just the flu, it's just that. Number one, COVID is not just the flu. People get COVID long symptoms. Number two, there's no reason for you to be sick for 3-4 days and can't breathe and then you're worried, when there are very easy ways to do it. And somebody's like, well, your supplements are expensive. I said, no, you can get like a 6-month supply of COVID Vites right now on our website for like $120 or like $29. You can get something. And so my question is, what is the cost of health? People don't know what the cost of health, of preventing health is till they get sick. You know what I'm saying? So I'm telling people, number one, everybody that has hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin in their medicine cabinet, start your Sunday medicine. Take your hydroxychloroquine or ivermectin once a week. Number two, get on one of the vitamins that has a zinc transport system. If you go on our website, there's a place that says vitamins to the zinc transport system. And why do you need vitamins to the zinc transport system? Zinc is a potent antiviral, and zinc cannot enter the cell. It needs a transport system like quercetin. Even hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin works that way too, like elderberry. So most of our vitamins, like we have elder gummies for children with elderberry, vitamin C, D, zinc, and elderberry. And your vitamin D content too is important.
Right.
Mel, one of the things that I find a little surprising to me and has always been for this COVID saga is the fact that respiratory viruses are not common during the spring, summer months. Respiratory viruses are winter month diseases, but it's amazing how COVID just pops up any time of the year. And then it comes like, woo, and then it goes back. Sometimes I wonder, is it actually being sprayed out? It's just that maybe they don't want us to forget about COVID. So every now and then they'll throw another variant. Make sure that everybody remember to go and get their vaccine for those that are getting their 100 boosters. But folks, don't be scared, be prepared. We don't know what's coming next. I've been saying over and over, there's another pandemic coming. They're not going to be able to implement their Agenda 2030 or their complete control or complete digitalization without another pandemic. They will need a pandemic for a disruptive event so that they can actually bring about everything that they've already planned. And you and I have been talking about it, Mel. These things are planned already. So be prepared. Make sure that you have hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin in your medicine cabinet. If you go to my website, drstellamd.com, you make a telemedicine appointment.
Yes.
All 50 states will ship it right to your house. Make sure that you get on one of those zinc vitamins with zinc transport system. I take Revive. It used to be called
Right, so do we. So do we every day.
I take Revive and the tea, so it builds my immune system and keep me healthy.
Yeah, me too.
I think that's incredibly important because keeping your immune system, we forget because it's not taught and it's not messaged at all, but how important how effective our immune system is. And, remember, we were all canceled and silenced just for talking about the immune system and ways to support the immune system. There's another thing I want to mention is that there are other companies out there that are building supplement businesses to try to take away the business from, a lot of the frontline doctors types and the smaller, America First practitioners that have been building alternative solutions. So it's really important to support those folks that have, kind of stood in the breach, that have risked their lives and careers and have saved hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lives. And then you get a larger organization and come in and try to snuff them out.
Yeah.
So we need to support our America First suppliers, and we need to support, America First voices that are the ones that are really saving this nation.
Yeah, and fighting hard. And Stella has been on the front lines from day one. And we are big, huge fans of Revive, formerly
COVID Light.
COVID Light.
Yes.
But you also have a whole pack for COVID, and you have nebulizer. You have all kinds of things. You've got a great tea. Your products are the best of the best, and you can get them everywhere. Get a telemedicine appointment. It's very affordable. Go to drstellamd.com. Use code MELK for an extra discount. And you know what? Don't be afraid. That's what they want. They want fear. Now they're pushing the COVID. Then Trump counters them with the new mailing thing. So just know the people that
feed on fear.
COVID, and they keep finding like labs all over the country. You think that's an accident? They are desperate, and they are going to do whatever they need to do. So you just need to counter it by being prepared and going to drstellamd.com.
And you can go to our partners page.
Yes, or our partners page. She's a partner of the show. When you buy from Stella, you help keep the show going as well. So support the MLK show, and think about that when you buy whatever you're going to buy to take care of yourself and your family. Make sure that you know that your money also is how you decide that you are fighting for this country. Where you spend it matters. So thank you so much, Stella, and we will see you next week.
Always, Mel. And like that, I tell people the best way for you not to be afraid is for you to be prepared. Don't just throw, don't just throw your hands in the air and say, "Well, I'm not going to believe it." These people are serious. So get prepared. Yes. Don't be scared. And like I said, give your life to Jesus.
Okay, sweetheart. We'll see you next week. Appreciate it.
God bless.
Okay, kids. Well, back to USAID. This, thank God, was the first one they went after. I had written a whole report that I gave to some people about it. And it was the first Doge hit, and thank God, because it has always been a CIA front, and the CIA has never worked for the people of the United States of America, as I prove in my book. But let's take a look at what is going on. So first of all, Schellenberger went on Cuomo's show and had a lot to say about USAID. So there's going to be a lot coming out, not just about the Ukraine war and what really happened there and what the long game plan was and when it started, which was a long, long time ago, and also the participation of West exec advisors during Trump's first term in making sure that they had it set up for when they stole the 2020 election to jump in there and kick off World War III. Anthony Blinken being the tie between them, Sullivan, Blinken, Newland, Psaki, all the people that went to West Executive, Avril Haines, jumped from West Exec Advisors, from Obama to West Exec Advisors, from West Exec Advisors to the State Department, and next thing you knew, they crossed all the red lines for Russia and kicked off World War III, the European part of it. But we are finding out more and more that a lot of this was fake. USAID has not only been found to have been funneling money to organizations to interfere with elections all over the EU, because Samantha Power is the queen of regime change and of imposing, her will on foreign nations. Samantha Power is one of the people that I cannot believe has not already been charged for the amount of money that went out of this country during her overseeing of the USAID auto pen administration. But also, as you will remember, she was Barack Obama's UN ambassador. She was the queen of regime change using the Soros/UN responsibility to protect doctrine, which I believe they wanted to use against Donald Trump and will still maybe try. Hopefully we'll be out of the UN and NATO and all of that sooner rather than later. But in the meantime, a new report that USAID was very involved in the fake Ukraine impeachment. Let's take a listen to Schellenberger explain it to I Know Nothing Cuomo. Here you go.
New reporting reveals that USAID and a CIA analyst were behind a project that later led to one of Trump's impeachments. independent journalist Michael Schellenberger, joins us to try to convince me that I should believe this. Shelley, always a pleasure. Good to see you, Mike.
Great to see you, Chris.
So, sell me on it. How much do you believe this?
Well, look, here's what we know. We
Not even a
know that
journalist.
USAID effectively created this organization called the Organized Crime and Corruption Research Project, Reporting Project, OCCRP, which nobody's heard of, but it teams up with well-known news media companies around the world. We know that it would not exist had it not rerouted a State Department grant from its Narcotics Enforcement Division through USAID, and that USAID can sign off on all of the senior, has a requirement to sign off on all the senior staff and on the work plan. We also know that it did the foundational research that was essential to bringing the impeachment case against Trump in December of 2019. It was what the CIA whistleblower relied upon in his initial complaint in December in December of 2019. So those are the facts of it.
Wait, explain that part. Explain that part, Michael. Explain what they funded and how it's connected to what the CIA agent and who that was, what we know, because I thought it was the original guy was the British guy that was hired by the Oppo research place that Clinton had been working with.
He knows nothing.
And he was collecting it from his sources. What are you believing now?
Yeah, I mean, this is the case of you remember, this is where Trump talks about the perfect phone call with Ukrainian President Zelensky.
So this is his second impeachment.
Impeachment, yeah, of 2019. So this is basically a situation where the CIA person in the White House who had been left over by Obama writes a complaint describing alleged violation of the law. This was then picked up and the House impeached Trump. The Senate, of course, declined to hear it. But I think what's so interesting here is that this is an organization that's behind it, that's funded by USAID, that would not exist without USAID, engaging in what I think you have to consider to be domestic politics, which is absolutely forbidden. You have to remember that our intelligence agencies, our foreign policy establishment, of which USAID is a big part, it's not really an economic development agency. I think people misunderstand that part. It's really about soft power. It's about establishing the power of the United States in like.
What's amazing is that Cuomo makes, I think, $20 million a year. I make about, 0.01% of that, and he knows nothing about anything. It's amazing. Convince me. All the evidence has been out there for years. Okay. The person here that should be held accountable, and I keep saying this, is Samantha Power. Samantha Power has been a operative next to Barack Obama in everything they've done in the controlled demolition of the United States. She is married to Cass Sonstein, who is the inspiration, who's the original truth czar under Obama, but also a inner circle person of Obama and all the Brookings people and Eisen and all his students from critical legal theory school known as Harvard Law. But it turns out also that now we know for sure that there was a kickback scheme. Now, speaking of USAID, Brussels-funded NGOs have been attacking conservative government candidates, as we know. But it looks like that USAID and the Open Society Foundation have interfered in the elections in Europe of Poland, Moldova. It looks like Croatia, Slovakia, and Romania. So they have done what they have done in the United States. Like I told you, the Color Revolution playbook has been going since 2016. They want us to have a Maidan revolution, I believe, this summer. And the truth of the matter is that now they are caught red-handed. So the Open Society, that's George Soros, and USAID are both being accused by journalists in the EU of interfering in multiple elections over the last 3 years while Samantha Power ran the EU. Basically ran the EU, yes. But ran the, USAID. Now, if you don't know also, EU watchdog exposes Romania's judicial coup against the people of Romania. As you know, Gugescu, who was calling out the elite and the pedophiles and all of that, they changed the law because he was in the lead. I'm telling you, the EU is essentially like the USSR of Europe, and it's just really very sad. The EU is not our ally. It never was, and they, in fact, in my opinion, owe us all our money back from the money that they used to build the EU. But at the end of the day, we have to also realize the World Economic Forum was also not a project of that came out of nowhere. It actually came out of Harvard. Klaus Schwab was recruited by Henry Kissinger with a CIA finance program to go there and start the World Economic Forum as the global public-private partnership head of this future global governance project I now call Agenda 2030, but first it was Agenda 21, and it is all mapped out all the way to 2050, but we're going to stop it, thank God. So don't forget that. Also, at the same time, John Solomon has laid out Samantha Power being the person that should be held accountable. Frankly, I think the United States of America deserve to have her on the hot seat under oath, answering questions about everything that she's done since Obama's administration, but certainly during the 4 years of the auto pen. But take a listen to this.
Administrator of the U.S. Agency for International Development. There is simply no one better to ensure our development agenda is a core pillar of our foreign policy.
Our security is connected to the security of people who live elsewhere. Many of the issues that we in the United States are grappling with, the pandemic, economic crisis, climate consequences, threats to the rule of law, and even to democracy.
Samantha Power.
Okay, so if you don't know who Samantha Power is, she got suckered by by these two, I guess they're jokesters that call people. Anyway, they prank called Samantha Power at the start of the war in Ukraine. You know, she was funding it. She was the one sending the money. She also sent money to the Wuhan lab, or USAID did. And then I think the guy before her now is at George Soros's Open Society. But USAID had been sending $1.5 billion per month to Ukraine in cash before the war even started. And she got caught by these pranksters. Just take a listen to this little thing.
And then in this time, in wartime, we were giving $1.5 billion every single month just right into the treasury of Ukraine, just in cash in that time. And then in this time, in wartime, we were giving $1.5 billion every single month just right into the treasury of Ukraine.
Okay, keep that in mind as you listen to this.
You know, what about the same from the Ukraine side? Are there people over there that are willing to, jump in and step up and say, hey, yeah, this is nonsense and this is what's going on? I mean, what's the state of play in Kiev? Again, I think most Americans are fed up. I wonder if some of those people are willing to cooperate now.
My reporting indicates that Steve Witkoff, who's done a great job negotiating all across the world, including in Ukraine, recently was given some information from some Ukrainian government officials that could be very, very helpful to the last decade of understanding some of the corruption going on and the relationships between our two countries and some of the people who profited or created fraud or did other things, tried to create political influence through untoward means. So,
what about the same from the Ukraine side? Are there people over there that are willing to?
So that was that. And then we have also Samantha Power. So John Solomon name dropped Samantha Power, Obama, Hillary, and Biden as persons of interest who are running the USAID money laundering, essentially, when they discuss funneling hundreds of millions of dollars back to Democrat coffers. So essentially, that was... It's funny. I always laugh because Sundance at the Last Refuge Conservative Treehouse calls her the rider of the pale horse. But if you do not know, she arrived in Kyiv. It looks like on October 2nd, 2024. So what we're finding out now is that if you look at this screenshot here, Right. So during the summer of 24, when supposedly money was being laundered back into the Biden coffers and the DNC for the 2024 election from Ukraine, Samantha Power showed up there to meet with. So she said, just arrived in Kyiv for my third visit since Russia's full-scale invasion. It was not an invasion. It was they pushed them to the edge. In awe of the resilience of the Ukrainian people and eager to see what more we can do to support them. At that point, we gave them $200 billion. Okay, Samantha Power. This goes all straight to Samantha Power. Okay, you can remove that. Thank you. In the meantime, I want to remind you that Samantha Power is accused of creating color revolutions many, many places, as I said before, but straight up was accused in Georgia. So it was Georgia's Dream Party, is essentially the equivalent to the U.S. MAGA Party, and she went there essentially to create an opposition, it is suggested. Also, let's listen to Mike Benz talk about the money laundering there, since he does it as well as anyone possibly can. Take a listen to this.
If there's one thing that the CIA, the State Department, and the U.S. Institute of Peace all have in common, and that's U.S. aid. U.S. aid was the great front for 60 years for this whole network. U.S. aid was shut down, actually not primarily for its bad behavior, but because it refused to turn over documents. It was really the only agency in the federal government that just straight up refused to allow the new administration. It's a U.S. government agency under the executive branch, and it just refused to give the executive branch the documents, the emails, any of that. Concept I've been describing of a so-called professional class of regime change specialists at USAID, the State Department, and the CIA, and this language that I've been using for years now, which is that we have trained this professional class of government officials at USAID, the State Department, and the CIA with a very special set of skills, which is toppling governments that the U.S. State Department does not like, that the foreign policy establishment,
right,
U.S., UK, NATO, our transatlantic alliance, when we need a government gone, we have a professional class of specialists we employ to do that work. And they're concentrated at USAID, the State Department, the Central Intelligence Agency, and all of the USAID and State Department funded NGOs and foundations and for-profit contractors of that network. And
okay. Well, can't wait for my book to come out, because I prove it and I show you when it all started and how they protected themselves with immunity and calling it continuity, and how despicable the State Department became under the tutelage of the Dulles brothers. Also, I want to remind you that Cass Sonstein is, again, Samantha Power's husband. Cass Sonstein, if you did not know, joined the Biden administration after he came back from where? The World Health Organization. So Sonstein left the Obama administration and went, oddly enough, to the World Health Organization, where he participated in the nudge unit to get the world to take the vaccine. So Sonstein was at the World Health Organization working with the nudge unit. Remember, he wrote a book called Nudge. He also wrote a book against the First Amendment, and he also wrote a book against conspiracy theories while he was covering up Obama's past. But in February 2021, Cass Sonstein quietly became the senior advisor to Mayorkas on the open border, working alongside Secretary Mayorkas. Sonstein was tasked with ensuring that the new immigration rules that the Autopen administration were putting in, which aimed to reverse all of Trump's policies, were evidence-based and legally sound and unable to be reversed. So you did not know that, maybe, but Sonstein was the person who was helping Mayorkas and Amy Pope, who was in the Obama administration, but then became the liaison in the UN immigration side of it. So it was Amy Pope, Sonstein, and Mayorkas that were really responsible for opening up the border and all these nonsense things that they put in. Sonstein joined the department as it worked to overturn zero-tolerance immigration policies, reshape the border enforcement, and reverse all of, essentially, Donald Trump's border border changes that were helping our country. He was also responsible for ensuring immigration rules and regulations could withstand legal challenges in court. The Harvard law professor and former administrator of Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs under President Obama, and of course, the tactical group over there after that at the World Health Organization working to nudge the world to take the vaccine. Then he comes in as Samantha Power's husband. She's working USAID money bags. He's working to open the border and make sure that it withstands any legal action that might come in the future to keep our border open forever. Okay, so Sonstein and Samantha Power have a lot to answer for. I don't know if it'll happen. Yes, Rob?
You're talking a little bit about the border and whatnot. Are you going to hit at all the birthright citizenship thing? Oh, you are? Okay, because that's really a scary situation.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go 10 more minutes. Is that okay? Okay.
Yeah, it's up
if
to
I go
Ben.
10 more minutes, I can cover both. Okay. So also at the Supreme Court, as you know, they will be hearing the birthright citizenship argument. I want to also talk about the mail-in ballots thing because it's very genius what they're doing. But let's talk about the birthright citizenship. I'll let you listen to Donald Trump say it from his POV, and then we'll get into it a little deeper. So here you go.
And the Supreme Court tomorrow is going to hear arguments about your executive order trying to get rid of birthright citizenship.
And I'm going.
You're going to go to the Supreme Court
I think
tomorrow?
so. I do believe.
And just sit there and listen.
Because I have listened to this argument for so long, and this is not about Chinese billionaires or billionaires from other countries who all of a sudden have 75 children or 59 children in one case or 10 children becoming American citizens. This was about slaves. And if you take a look, slaves, we're talking about slaves from the Civil War. And if you take a look at when it was filed, all of this legislation, all of this, everything having to do with birthright citizenship, it was at the end of the Civil War. The reason was it had to do with the babies of slaves and the protection of the babies of slaves. It didn't have to do with the protection of multi-millionaires and billionaires wanting to have their children get an American citizenship. It is the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's been so badly handled by legal people over the years. If you look at the original birthright citizenship papers, they all happened right after the Civil War. The reason was it had to do with the babies.
Okay, so that is Donald Trump, but even better to explain it is the great Peter Schweitzer. Let's take a listen to what he found, and I believe that he met with the administration to go over this very alarming, very scary Chinese billionaire problem and birther tourism and all of that. You know that there was a multi-million-dollar mansion found in Los Angeles area where they had about 40 babies there. And what is happening also is that Chinese billionaires are having surrogates in America, all kinds of crazy stuff.
It's an invasion.
Yeah, take a listen.
Alone, we have identified more than 1,000 birth tourism companies that are almost exclusively focused on the United States. Our federal government does not track this information because there is no centralized collection of information on the nationality of parents who are giving birth. China, however, has done estimates themselves, and the numbers are eye-popping. The Chinese government gave an estimate a few years ago. Their estimate was that on average 50,000 Chinese citizens a year were giving birth in the United States or at U.S. territories like Saipan. There are others like Professor Salvatore Barbonis from Australia who believes that number is higher. He's estimated 100,000. There was a research firm in China that estimated in 2018 alone 180,000 managed to give birth in the United States. No one knows what the actual number is, and that is the challenge that we face today. If you do the math, if you look at the ramping up of this activity over the last 13 years, and you take the ballpark estimates, you are looking at roughly 1 million, quote unquote, U.S. citizens who are being raised in the People's Republic of China today. If you look at the websites of these birth tourism companies, they will tell you who is hiring them. These are not political dissidents. These are military officers, people from the Ministry of Propaganda, people that are high-ranking officials in the Chinese Communist Party. In other words, these are part of the CCP establishment.
There you have it. So this is much bigger than it should be. Of course, the take over at The View was what you would expect.
Is that Saturday Night Live?
No. Not only did they say that Sonny Hostin said having babies in America today is irresponsible, and they're all upset about that, but they had on this lunatic who is with the fraudulent and Brennan Center connected Demand Justice. Take a listen to their take on it.
Right now, the Immigration and Nationality Act. Now, this administration is using this statute to justify the detentions and possible deportations, actually, of Visa and Green Card holders who they seem to deem a threat to U.S. foreign policy. What do you make of the administration's use of the act? And more broadly, is Trump really setting up a First Amendment showdown, which is what Whoopi's been talking about?
Yes, absolutely. One of my premises for the book is that every law passed before the 1965 Voting Rights Act should be presumptively unconstitutional, right? But because before the 1965 Voting Rights Act, we were functionally an apartheid country. Not everybody who lived here could vote here. So why should I give about some law that some old white man passed in the 1920s?
One of the laws you write about.
That's the way it goes.
Is that guy retarded?
Yeah, I mean, it's so embarrassing.
No, but this is really serious, folks. I mean, if you think about a million, conservatively estimate, Chinese children from the CCP administration are born here, effectively brought back, trained and indoctrinated into, basically the CCP kind of community, and then they're supposed to come back here. And we know that based on everything that we have come to learn is that their first allegiance is to the CCP.
Oh, yeah.
So if
they're not being raised here.
No, but if we had
it's going to come here after, like Patrick kept saying.
Right. And, there's a lot of other things we've learned about the Chinese 100-year plan, a 50-year plan, 100-year plan. So this is a very, very serious. If we had a million, enemy soldiers on our territory, that would not be good.
Yeah, and it's even worse than that. They come here and they're actually educated while our universities are purposely dumbing down our children with no merit-based admissions anymore. They have created at the Ivy League schools, all of their liberal arts programs go right into NGOs. We're dumbing down our kids in school, and they're tripling their work. First of all, jump to my screen right now. So who do you think is challenging the Trump administration on the birthright citizenship? You guessed it. Norm Eisen is at it again. How this man is still functioning or still a lawyer is beyond my comprehension. I know Kash Patel and I would hope Pam Bondi knows that this guy has been running a obvious color revolution since 2016. He talks about it on stage openly at Brookings. But if you look right there, he says he's headed today for our DD, that's Defending Democracy Fund. Again, he's worth $30 million, and all of his NGOs, he's got like 5 of them. They're all funded by the same billionaires that are running the controlled demolition of America. And Norm Eisen and Mark Elias have decided that they are the lawyers for saving America. Well, I saw something. You can take it down. I saw something that I think we should know about with Norm Eisen, okay? And I think it's important to understand that the level to which this man has twisted the law into a pretzel and does everything. I'm going to show you a clip in a second. But what it says in this clip, and thank you to the researcher that's Listen to Learn on X, great account, such amazing work. Also held down like mine, so go follow him. So anyway, Norm Eisen says that they went out and found some illegal immigrant moms of unborn babies to be plaintiffs in his case challenging Trump's birthright citizen executive order. Researcher says, I'm not an attorney, but it appears that what Norm did may violate the ABA rules of professional conduct, a lawyer going out to find a plaintiff, and could possibly be grounds for disbarment. Think it isn't true? Let's take a quick listen to Norm Eisen actually say this. So remember, he has challenged Trump multiple times and continues to do this. So I'm sorry.
He's got to resize that.
Yeah. So just remember, I mean, I've done full shows on him, but his work at Brookings, at Crew, he wrote the original Color Revolution document that I've turned over to not just Paxton and the Trump administration in the first round, but Democracy Matters document. Him and David Brock wrote it. Everyone can check it out on my website resource page, but take a listen to them right here talking about his birthright citizen plaintiff.
I hear is a lot of what you might call doomerism about this, and people saying, look, this is an administration that does not care about the rule of law and is willing to act in ways contrary to the rule of law. So in what way can the judiciary stop that?
Well, I think the judiciary has very powerfully stopped Donald Trump. For example, he started out wanting to abuse his power of the pen, executive orders. He did a executive order on birthright citizenship. He's going to take a strip citizenship from a group of babies that he chooses. But that's not what the Constitution says. Everybody born here is a citizen. Well, we found some moms of unborn babies, and we brought suit.
What I hear is a lot of
Okay, so what is going on that Norm Eisen is still out there doing that? He went and found people to bring the suit against birthright citizenship when you just heard Peter Schweitzer explain what it really is. He was behind all 4 of the Trump lawfare cases. He wrote the memo with Andrew Weissman that led to Monaco and then Jack Smith, Arctic Frost. Well, the one person who does the most work, as far as I can see, in trying to save our country is Judicial Watch and Fenton. And Judicial Watch has announced that they have filed the Freedom of Information lawsuit against the U.S. Department of Justice for all records linking Norm Eisen to the FBI Biden-era Arctic Frost probe, specifically involving the Criminal Division, the Office of Information Policy, Attorney General Merrick Garland, Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco, and the Special Counsel Jack Smith's team. I am telling you that he is the center of everything lawfare since 2016. And again, you can find the Democracy Matters playbook and his Protecting Democracy from Authoritarian playbook, much of his playbooks. And that's what it looks like. And Norm Eisen's and David Brock's playbooks for 2018, 2020. I mean, all of it. He's also, getting billions of dollars to his NGOs, like at the States United Democracy Center, where he is accused of helping to develop legal theories and materials related to prosecutions to alternate slates of Republican electors in 2020. He was also, as I said, involved in targeting 430 Republicans, Donald Trump's campaign, the Republican National Committee, and 10 Republican senators. Also, as I said, he was involved in, without a doubt, writing the Jack Smith case. So we shall see what happens. I do want to say that, unusually, the Wall Street Journal came in and explained that Donald Trump is absolutely right about birthright citizenship because it has been so abused. So we will see what happens there. Last thing I want to say about all of this is from the voting standpoint. So as you know, there were many things that happened yesterday. Judge Jackson showed yet again that her nomination for the Supreme Court should be challenged because it violated the Constitution and was unconstitutional. Joe Biden said he would only pick a black woman for the Supreme Court justice. And again, that is, especially in the government, a no-no. In the meantime, another lunatic judge struck down the defunding of NPR and PBS. That is taxpayer funding. Another judge struck down the ballroom that Donald Trump is building with private money that he won from all of the lawsuits. And of course, I will end with ensuring citizenship verification and integrity in federal elections. I will let Witkoff explain it to you. Now, remember, the U.S. Postal Service is a federal agency. Okay, and they can cry all they want, but if you want to do mail-in ballots, fine. but you have to use the post office. And we're going to make sure that every single ballot connects to an actual real person and address. Take a listen to, this is Lutnick explaining it. Take a listen.
States, right, run these elections. They will, if they want to use the U.S. mail, the U.S. Postal Service, they're going to get a code, a barcode from the U.S. Postal Service, and they're going to put that on the envelope, and we will have one envelope per vote. None of this time where we have no idea, there's no observers to mail, there's no envelopes, there's no certainty. That's all going to go away, and what the president is doing today is he's going to make sure that mail-in ballots are safe, secure, and accurate, and will have a clear distinction. If you voted by mail, you will have it on the envelope. Obviously not on the ballot, but on the envelope. So we will know 1 million mail-in ballots. There'll be 1 million envelopes, and you'll be able to know exactly, correctly, that citizens voted.
And this came up with some great legal minds. They looked at the various documents and everything that was going on, because the cheating on mail-in voting is legendary. It's horrible what's gone on. And it's very clearly covered, very, very clearly. So I think this will help a lot with elections. We'd like to have voter ID. We'd like to have proof of citizenship, and that'll be another subject for another time. We're working on that. You would think it would be easy. It's a 98% issue for Republicans. It's 86%. The thing just came out, a poll, and it's 86% with Republicans and Democrats, not leaders, because the leaders of the Democrats cheat.
So that is a very fascinating whoop-de-doo, but I got to tell you, the truth is, this is the way it works. He has things he can do, and one of them is he controls the post office. And never forget that the post office was caught up in all kinds of shenanigans in 2020, and we remember when 9 trucks, 1.15 million counterfeit 2020 mail-in ballots in each truck. The USPS refused to say who paid for them, is withholding contents and descriptions. This came out a long, long time ago. It's still being looked at to this day. And again, election integrity groups have found votes removed and all of that and many, many things. And then just for fun, Nancy Pelosi comes out yesterday and said, we have to guard the machines. We have to make sure that Trump and can't get into the machines. But we were told that that couldn't happen. So anyway, we'll see what happens, but a lot of good things. And of course, Mark Elias is going to go be the election fraud superhero that he is and go fight the unconstitutional executive order. But this time they outsmarted him, and the post office is the purview of the president. So they can pay for free, I guess, mail-in ballots if they'd like to not use the post office. But that is a win. So thank you so much, guys. And I'm sorry I went long today. Sorry, Ben. I appreciate it. And thank you, Rob.
Thanks, everyone. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share on your way out. We appreciate all your support. I love everyone in the chat. You guys are the best.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Make sure you tune in to Mel K in the mornings at 12 Eastern every single day. We are doing a daily news show that'll keep you up to date with the things you're not getting anywhere else. The Mel K in the morning show is your place to get morning news daily.
Whispers of freedom loud in the night. Anonymous fighters ready to ignite. They hack the code, crack the chains. Endless courage runs through their veins. Dancing in the digital light they go.
Givaudan is a luxurious, toxin-free skincare that actually works. Not only do we take the toxins out, we put the most powerful nutrients in. All of our products are an effective way to detoxify, replenish, and protect your skin. Our toxin-free, natural ingredients provide real results without compromising your skin's health. Unlock the secret to beautiful, healthy skin using this synergistic skincare system. It's never too late or too early to begin living a more beautiful life with Givaudan. Natural, healthy skin.
So head on over to themelkshow.com, go to the partners page, click on Givaudan, use the code MELK, and get a great discount right now.
Rising strong, stand